Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another edition of Paradigm Shift and Educational Comedy. And today's, well, it's going to be at least 3 videos. So the first one is Water Purification Test Part 1. The description is Dave Kelso, Time Warrior, volunteers to be a guinea pig for a water purification test. Dave Kelso, Time Warrior, and Richard Hamilton, GeneralTate, explain what this test is and how we're going to proceed. And so nobody's confused. Part 1 is, oh, and Kristen is calling me on Skype. This is interesting. Okay, hold on a minute. Hey, Kristen, we are on a hangout right now, and you are like audible, and like my viewing audience is looking at me, talking with you. And we're doing a hangout on the water purification test stuff. I was just giving my little opening rant there. Did you want to join us? Or do you have the capability of joining us at the moment? Or
I'm actually going to be going to bed, but I hope it all goes well with this hangout.
Yep. Because obviously I got my stuff and I was gonna, be talking about that and explaining that and, going through the website and so on and so forth and, talking about what type of water purification test we're referring to and all that good stuff. So we're about to jump into that. But I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Yep. Catch you later. Okay, well, that was interesting. Anyway, I guess Kristen couldn't participate this time. Either way, sorry about that interruption, so I will proceed. In each version of this video, just so everybody's not confused, you're going to see this hangout because version number 1 is going to be just the hangout. So you're going to see no, classic opening, paradigm shift and educational comedy intro stuff. And it's just going to be us talking about it and me demonstrating. I got the little bottle here and I got the manual and, obviously we're going to do screen shares on the website. And there's 3 videos that are kind of attached to this. 3 like full presentations that they've done that as far as I could tell are, free, Creative Commons, fair use, whatever. So we can inject that. So this video is going to be me reading out of this and showing you guys what the videos are and what this is about. Me and Rich have already watched the video, and then, me and Rich will be talking about our experiences with the first video. There's 3. We've only watched one of the 3. Now, the second version of this, part 2, is going to begin with exactly what you're watching right now, but I'm going to, load this hangout into the nice little Kdenlive editor on Linux, and there's going to be a part where I cut it, and then I insert the first video. And then after that video, it'll resume with, mine and Rich's, conversation about that video. So obviously, if you are catching this at a point to where it's not the live stream and the second video has already been created, then you can actually feel free, if you want, to completely stop watching this and then, go to the second video. Obviously, if you are watching this live, then, the second video hasn't been created yet, so you're just kind of stuck with this for now. The third video is going to be, similarly as I just explained, but it's going to include all 3, freaking videos that are on the website back to back to back. And then, mine and Rich's discussion after it, the discussion we're kind of about to have. So yeah, but first, obviously, the stuff is called Advia Clarity. And there's the bottle of it. It's a 2-ounce bottle. And of course, here's the manual I'm going to be reading from. And I'm going to switch to screen share mode. Infinity Google hallway. Woo! Okay. So on waterliberty.com, under presentations, the video that we were talking about is the, the first video, Water Freedom Webinar. And if you're watching, part 2 or part 3, then somewhere about here is probably where I'm going to like put my cut and then go right straight into that. So let's roll that beautiful bean footage. Okay, but only if you're on part 2 or part 3, because if you're on part 1, we're still talking. We just trolled you. Okay. Now, they've got a bunch of different products here. The one I bought is a 2-ounce. Obviously, it's a bit pricey for the moment. Like, look at how expensive the filter is and everything. But this stuff is pretty kick-ass, which is why we're suggesting, obviously, watching the video. And obviously, before I go into, the instruction manual on this, me and Rich are going to talk about what we saw when we watched this first video and why it's so freaking kick-ass as far as we could tell. And first, I'm going to let Rich explain his thoughts on it, get his perspective.
Well, my first reaction initially to this product was one of mixed feelings because, I've seen many other, miracle products, that they claim can do everything and, claim can cure this and alleviate that. And, it's like it kind of started out with that traditional, like, okay, yeah, cut to the chase. But then they start rolling the footage of, I wanted to believe it was true, at first. And, he was talking about all the benefits and all this stuff that it can do, or he claims that it can do. And then they start rolling the footage of the Japanese scientists pouring this stuff en masse into public water sources, and all the green gunk and all the garbage that's in the water literally after 2 hours clumps up and turns into nothing more than inert.
Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was 2 hours. I mean, the guy put
well, whatever. I'm just saying, whatever the time was, it was probably more like 8 hours, I bet. But whatever the time frame, it was. It cleaned out all the water, and they literally put a glass mug with a handle down there. They scooped the water up, and one of the scientists literally drank some of it. It was so freaking clean. So I mean, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, wow, I see there's some science behind this. It's not just airy-fairy, like we've all heard in those health commercials bullshit that isn't backed by any form of reality. It's just a bunch of quote-unquote figures. Yeah. They're not just fooling you with a placebo. It's literal, actual,
Cool thing is they didn't claim that it will or won't cure anything. They were just reporting back the scientific data that they had, and what data they have is what data they have. No more, no less.
Well, that's when they went into the deeper details. But when I first started watching it, it just kind of sounded to me like they were going, oh yeah, we got this wonderful product that's really kick-ass and it does all of this stuff, and bragging about it. And then they went into the details behind it, obviously, as you just stated. And
the thing that impressed me the most is they kind of started out with the bad news first, if you know what I mean. They were explaining the science behind exactly why our water is toxic and how, and going into the science of how things got screwed up in the first place and why. So I'm like, okay, this isn't just, some guy up here like, here's my magical doohickey, drink this and woo, wonderful. No, he was just like, Just like, all right, I know we got to go into the bad, depressing stuff first in order for this to be believable. I'll get through it as fast as I can. Bear with me, but here's all the nasty, depressing, toxic data. So it's like that. I'm like, okay, if he's willing to totally put the science first, then there might be something to this.
Exactly.
Because obviously, if you're trying to sell a product, and that's your only motivation, you're not going to be like, oh, look, here's like a half hour of depressing crap to totally turn you off and make you hit the stop button, So his motivation wasn't just to, to sell a product or whatever. So I'm like, all right. This is cool. He's doing the science, and those who can't stomach the hard truth of it, well, fuck them. They're not ready for the truth anyway. You can't handle the truth. Yeah, our water on this planet's gotten pretty fucked. And, hence the other two videos, Advanced Water Science and Hidden Toxin Cover-Up, which are the two videos that me and Rich haven't even watched yet, but, we're going to. And the way this stuff purifies the water, it basically, it does it electromagnetically, because everything that's toxic has a version of itself that's inert. And this thing takes toxic chemicals and radioactive stuff, converts it to its inert form. And it'll even kill a lot of biological and chemical agents and so on and so forth, bringing that to its inert form. It just seems, basically, it seems to put imbalance back into balance. So I can't really say that this will or won't, quote unquote, cure anything. All I can say is, based on my observations, it takes imbalance and puts it back into balance. Now, our bodies take in all these different toxins and stuff, and our immune systems, are not running nearly as efficiently as they should, so we hold on to a lot of these toxins. And every time I personally have successfully done anything to kick toxins out, it feels like the Incredible Hulk is just like, ass raping me or something. It's not a pleasant experience. And anytime that I'm adding nutrition in to where maybe I was at a deficit and I found a way to, to correct that imbalance, and now I'm getting nutrition that I wasn't getting before, it feels good. My body's like, thank you, about fucking time. It's like giving me the finger and saying thank you at the same time. It's like, about damn time, Dave, you lazy bastard. You should have discovered this earlier, So for all I know, hey, when I drink this stuff, I could be wrong. It might be a pleasant, energetic, uplifting experience, but in my experiences, when you're getting toxins kicked out of you, it's like getting gang raped by the Incredible Hulk. So if this thing works as good as it seems, I'm basically expecting to get my ass kicked for about a week. So that's why I'm kind of saying that I'm kind of volunteering to be a guinea pig here, because I don't know which way this is going to go. It looks like this stuff really is legit, and anything that's that good at removing toxins is probably going to make me feel like I'm losing the boxing match of my life. So I'm just kind of sitting here, like bracing for impact. I've got three bottles that are, being processed right now. Three different things because I'm curious. One is a bottle of Code Red, which is essentially or Big Red or whatever the fuck it is. It's cream soda, basically. The other bottle, the second bottle is just, bottled water, and each of these are 2-liter bottles, by the way. And the third bottle is this, the citrus pop sort of stuff. And, they say that, and I'm going to explain the measurements and everything here shortly, but, X amount of this stuff per X, in each bottle, and then, let it sit for at least 24 to 48 hours. I'm going for at least 48. It's been 24 already. And it says, make sure, it's exposed to the air. So, that all three caps are off, so that during this process, anything that it's breaking up or releasing in gas form can then, evaporate out of the bottle and, not go back in. So the caps have to be off. And that's also why I'm going to be reading out of this instruction manual, because it explains, you know, what it is and the ratios of things, and then how I took that and, you know, came up with my measurements on it, and, you know, why I'm doing what I'm doing. This manual isn't like incredibly hellaciously long. Half of it explains the little water purifier mechanism that they sell on here for $200. I'm going to completely skip that section because I didn't purchase that. So I'm not going to speak on something that I'm not experimenting with. But half of the manual covers this thing, the Adya Clarity water filtration system. So I'm literally going to skip reading the second half of this manual because I didn't purchase that. I'm not screwing with that. So I'm not going to speak on it. So I think that's fair. Okay, so what is Adya Clarity? And there's a lot of terminology here. Excuse me if I mispronounce any of it. You know, it is what it is. Okay. Adya Clarity is a blend of purified water and ionic sulfate minerals that provide a simple yet revolutionary way to purify your water. Without the use of toxic, synthetic chemicals, Adya Clarity converts over 250 contaminants into harmless substances and delivers a pure, refreshing taste to your water. Adya Clarity is extracted from black mica. That's, you know, the word black. We all know how to spell black. Mica is spelled M-I-C-A. Scientifically known as biotite, B-I-O-T-I-T-E, a powerful combination of the Earth's naturally occurring minerals, including iron, potassium, and magnesium. Through a proprietary process, U.S. patent number 4776963, black mica is extracted for water purification. In the U.S., Adya Clarity is registered and marketed for water purification. Adya Clarity uses the same ingredients as Adya Minerals, which have been reviewed by Health Canada as a natural health product and approved with natural product number 800282256. Adya Clarity is a water purification tool. The ionic sulfate minerals in Adya Clarity advocate water's natural ability to filter out chemical and biological contaminants. After this purification process, water is turned back into its clean, pristine, and primordial state, hence the name of the product, Adya, which means primordial or original best state in Sanskrit, classical language of Indian. Indian meaning India. The science behind Adya Clarity. Water purification. Adya Clarity contains ionic sulfate minerals that have anemonic and cationic, or cation, C-A-T-I-O-N-I-C, cationic, whatever, exchange properties, which is the ability to donate or receive electrons. It activates water's natural ability to cleanse itself from chemical and biological contaminants. And it shows a little diagram on here, which is irrelevant because the video does like way better than the diagram. 2. Forming stable and balanced minerals. The powerful ionic sulfate minerals break up the weak bonds of harmful minerals. Because a balance of minerals is present in Adya Clarity, ions are rearranged to form strong and stable mineral bonds. For example, when Adya Clarity is added to water, sodium fluoride, a toxic mineral salt which has a relatively weak bond, is converted into calcium fluoride, a harmless mineral salt that appears naturally in underground water sources and in seawater. In other words, fluoridated water spam, clean, fuck you globalists. 3, keeping your water fresh and clean. Adya Clarity activates oxygen that can break down wastes and neutralize contaminants, rendering them inert or harmless. The activated oxygen also kills disease-causing microorganisms and prevents bacteria from growing. So the harmful contaminants that make your water rot could no longer grow in the water. Because, yeah, obviously, you know, everything's interconnected, so it's like, just as the positive biological life needs certain things to thrive, the nasty little viruses and bacteria and things have their own stuff that they need to thrive, that is kind of like kryptonite for us, so to speak, if you know what I mean. So, you know, you remove the stuff that the nasty shit needs to thrive, and the nasty shit can then at that point go fuck itself. 4, lab results. Benefits proven by science. Adya Clarity has been tested in and proven by the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA. You know, those assholes that are fucking with people for building ponds and charging $50,000 fines every day and stuff to, you know, innocent farmers and ranchers and stuff who are doing nothing other than existing because the EPA is a bunch of cocks. But anyway, it's been, you know, tested in and proven by those asshole buttfuckers in a certified laboratory to reduce and to remove contaminants. Tested and proven by 2 separate human clinical trials to be safe for consumption, and Adya Clarity also removes heavy metals from a human body. Yes, hence the before-mentioned ass-kicking that I was mentioning earlier, that I'll be pleasantly surprised if it doesn't have that effect. But whenever I've had toxins removed from my body by any means, it feels like the Hulk is raping me. All results are available at www.waterliberty.com/research.php.
I just want to bring this. I just want to bring this to attention, just because I'm looking around. It is kind of interesting to note, just on the Hangout, just to bring up. I'm reading a naturalnews.com article, and it was published on April 24th of 2012, and it's titled "Consumer Alert: Black Mica Extract Adya Clarity Still Being Sold as Dietary Supplement Across the USA." And according to this guy by the name of Mike Adams, editor of naturalnews.com, apparently he is saying that it's being fraudulently marketed as a miracle health supplement and has been renamed and is currently being sold across America by over a dozen distributors. And the product consists of metals, iron, aluminum, etc., dissolved with sulfuric acid into liquid form. It has been heavily marketed as a dietary supplement for internal consumption, along with completely unsubstantiated health claims, which he obviously hasn't really done research. But he's essentially saying it's mined from rocks and metals near Fukushima, Japan, which wherever he got that evidence, I'd like to know.
Yeah, no kidding. Look at the screen if you're not already, Rich.
Yeah.
They go over this.
Who knows? He very well could just be a globalist shill trying to knock it down. He's also saying the Health Canada fraud. Here, I'll send you the news article. We can even discuss this one. I thought it was kind of interesting. I was looking at Black Mica, and this was the first link on Google.
Yeah,
this is natural health.
I mean, Google
what's that tell you?
Renowned for pulling that shit. Any misinformation bullshit that they want people to see first always ends up in the top links.
As of today, Adya Inc. lists no Canadian distributors on its website, but it continues to point to Health Canada registration in order to falsely imply that some sort of product safety and approval status is needed. And he's basically calling the people who give testimonials in the video mentally insane, saying that high amounts of aluminum poisoning actually create, saying that aluminum consumption is directly linked to mental insanity.
You're gonna get more freaking aluminum from the canned soda you drink than that. I mean,
Yeah,
exactly. The people slandering the stuff, they're the ones that sounds fucking loony to me. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've formed a rebuttal, and they are pointing to all the sources and everything, and they're giving you all the scientific data. Clarity is not dissolved in battery acid. But it just it sounds like someone's just talking about
art. I think they're actually trying every point in here, skimming, and they refer this is the
you're breaking up a little bit, Rich.
Testing 1 2 3.
Okay, you were just kind of you were stretching like worse than Max Headroom for a second.
What I'm saying is they reference the battery acid thing in this. I think this is the article they are referring to.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it reminds me of those people on the news that say, if you disagree with the government, you're a homegrown terrorist and you should be medicated, put in prison, or shot. And, they're calling everybody else loonies who disagrees with government policies. Like, if you don't bow down and worship Obama's, fucking dick, then you're mentally unstable and should be put in prison or medicated or whatever. And it's just like, oh, come on, really? So it sounds like the same sort of slander,
Yeah. Well, I'm taking this with a grain of salt because it is, in fact, the very first link on Google.com.
Yeah, that is always suspect.
It's the #1 link, and then the second one is Add You Clarity Black Mica Extract is scam. The third one, customer reviews, Amazon.com.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they totally they totally like to skew that shit. I mean, that tactic has been done again and again and again and again. Anything that is, shall we say, popular opinion with the establishment, like what the establishment wants you to know, and obviously the establishment runs Google, it's easy enough for them to put whatever links they want at the top. It's they run Google, they can do that. It's their code, it's their service.
Well, that's the fucking thing. Here they are telling you this is toxic, yet meanwhile they're not going to talk to you about all the fluoride, all of the garbage that they put in your food.
Yeah, and about fluorosis.
They're not going to talk. They're not going to talk about aspartame and diet cola, but they will talk about black mica and make claims that it was mined out of Fukushima, Japan. Where's the evidence there?
Yeah, no freaking kidding.
And I've seen the video of the scientists. It's not literal gobbledygook. They were literally fucking putting that shit in the water, and it was clearing the water up.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to say, that was special effects? George Lucas is in conspiracy with Adia Clarity, and they hired.
It's about as silly as saying that it was Stanley Kubrick, who did the moon landings. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, that's totally, yeah, yeah, that's totally true. Yes, where did you get your tinfoil hat? But yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
And if fluoride was so good for you, why is there a condition called fluorosis? Which, if you look that up, it states that fluorosis is created by long-term exposure to fluoride. Here's an interesting one. Response to the Fukushima nuclear power facility incident, FDA.gov, Japan Ministry of Health, U.S. Customs Border Protection, Senate. They list all these different links for extended research into it. We're not going to get into all that now, but I mean, if you want to do the research, anybody.
And I will say to anybody who is skeptical, that's why I did the search right now, because I figured, okay, people are probably going to type in black mica, they're going to see that, so I figure I'm going to bring it up right now, so that way, it's mentioned. Yeah, that article right there, I mean, that article has all the links. That other article, it's just got a bunch of embedded links that go to other, opinionated websites made by other people, It's not,
Whereas this links all the different tests and regulations and this and that and just everything that's been done and all the scientific data. Water Liberty literally is citing its sources, whereas these slander sites are not citing sources, they're just citing other slander sites.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty typical tactic.
One of my favorites is when you try to go to some of these sites like make your own solar or any number of do-it-yourself energy sites. The browser gives warning, this site might contain dangerous viruses, and are you sure you wish to proceed? And scaring people away from, building their own home energy sources. I find that to be hilarious when I see it. I'm like, oh, geez. Because I've come across
no kidding.
Or I'm like, wow, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. No, it's so stupid. It's not even funny. It's just to me, it's kind of like it just goes to show how when anything like this does pop up, the establishment works like quickly as possible to slander it. And I mean, that article's been up there for 2 years, and it's been probably on the top page of Google's list for 2 years. Black Mica.
Yeah.
Or no, not even 2 years, like 3 or 4 years now. But still, I mean, it's amazing to me, So no, folks, Google isn't always your friend, and no, Google isn't always going to reference you to the proper sources. That takes discernment, and that takes deep digging.
Yeah, I love people who search Google for 5 seconds and they call that research.
That's not research.
I research all the time. I put in words into Google, and the first results I see, those are true. It's like, what? Really? That's research? I thought research was going through every link on the first 10 or 20 pages and cross-referencing the data and see what pans out to what. I thought that's what research is. Gee, that's what I do. But no, I'm just a nut. I don't do real research because I'm not like the cool kids who spend 5 seconds on Google and then call it research. I love that shit. It's funny. Should I continue reading from the book?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Ingredients in a bottle of Adia Clarity. Iron, 1,334.0 ppm. I think that's parts per milliliter. Or no, parts per million, I'm sorry. Which is milligrams per liter. Units used to measure mineral concentration, ppm, parts per million, equals milligrams per liter. Okay. Magnesium, 451.0 parts per million. Potassium, 271.0 parts per million. Calcium, 26.3 parts per million. Phosphorus, 30.5 parts per million. Manganese, I think it's how you say that, Manganese, 21.6 parts per million. Zinc, 2.1 parts per million. Gee, I'm not seeing radioactive gobbledygook and barium and aluminum and whatever the fuck else these idiots say.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh,
no,
wait.
It's just their attempt to...
Clarity contains over 100 trace minerals, including, and okay, it says aluminum, barium, cadmium, cobalt, copper, germanium, lithium, molybdenum, I can't pronounce that, nickel, rubidium, selenium, silicon, silver, titanium, tungsten, and vanadium. Since Adia Clarity is delivered from a natural or derived from a natural substance, the mineral concentrations may vary. So you've got these tiny little trace elements of things like, most people don't realize that, like, for example, there are trace elements of aluminum in everything, and there's like, there's safety limits, obviously. Like when you look at anything on the EPA's website, they are required to take action after amounts of this, that, and the other exceed, etc., parts per million, that sort of thing. So, even in a natural untampered state, even back, say, in the Middle Ages, before we had all the Industrial Revolution and everything, you still had very tiny trace elements of these things in everything, in spring water, so on and so forth. It wasn't the dangerous levels. And please do note that mercury is not on the list. Unlike the vaccines, but that's another story.
We're not going to mention that.
Yeah. It's on the CDC's website, though. So anybody wanting to cry conspiracy theorist on that need only go to the CDC's website and look at their own admissions. But anyway, the scientifically proven benefits of Adia Clarity. Reduces 159 harmful industrial chemicals, including 80 volatile organic compounds. Removes 100% of chlorine and reduces chloramates and trihymethanates to undetectable limits. Reduces 99.95 of tested pharmaceuticals and basic drugs. No wonder they're slandering this. Reduces 79 different agricultural substances. Oh, gotta have our nummy pesticides. Can't get rid of those. That's bad. Reduces heavy metals in water, including lead, arsenic, and mercury, to undetectable limits. Oh, can't have that. We need our lead, arsenic, and mercury to enhance the flavoring of the fluoride. Converts toxic chromium-6 in water to beneficial chromium-3, an essential dietary element. Oh, can't have that. Converts toxic sodium fluoride in water to harmless calcium fluoride, which naturally occurs in various water sources. Kills 4 types of disease-causing microorganisms and prevents their growth. Reduces up to 99.85 of tested bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Provides up to 100 trace minerals that are easily absorbed by the body. Now, I will note that so far, I'm not seeing any claims of any magical fucking cures. All I'm seeing is science, and it's saying it does specifically this in this way with these, elements, minerals, etc. I'm not seeing anything in here that says, oh my God, it's the cure for cancer. It's the Holy Grail. 1 drop of this and you will ascend and meet Jesus. No, I'm not seeing anything fucking crazy in here.
It's not a magical ism.
Yes, I'm not seeing anything totally nuts and over the top here. I'm just seeing, a report back from scientific testing. That's all I'm fucking seeing here. Adia Clarity as a natural health product. Okay, let's get one thing straight. Purifying your water as best you can, that's freaking healthy. That should be so common sense it shouldn't even need to be said. Adia Clarity is a natural health product. That shouldn't even need to be stated. It should be common sense that clean water is fucking healthy. If you don't have that much common sense, you're an idiot. That's just, I think this section is just for the moron.
Hold that thought. I'm going to go use the bathroom.
Okay. So I guess I will hold while he's briefly using the can here. I will continue forward when he returns from the bathroom. So, thank you for holding, and so on and so on. Richard will be right back in just a moment here. Yes, this is also why I like, having Google Hangouts with a minimum of 3 people, so that even if one leaves, there's at least somebody else to, fill up the time while the other person's gone, so that one person doesn't have to sit there ranting like a blithering insane person and going, ooh, I'm waiting for people to come back from the freaking bathroom. Ah! Insert Jeopardy theme song here. Do 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 do. Please hold. The next available Richard Hamilton will be with you momentarily. Your Google Hangout is important to us. Please hold the line, and the next available Richard Hamilton will be with you shortly. Mr. Richard, should we call you the Big Dick? Ha ha. Dick is a killer. And while you are waiting, you get to see the nice little revolving informational thingy on the screen there. But yes, I did give these guys a call at their 1-800 number and asked some questions about it. And the lady I talked to was fairly informative, I guess, but one thing that was discussed was that part of the reason why this stuff is a bit on the pricey side right now, it's kind of a supply and demand thing. So that's kind of common sense. It's not like, you know, this is as common of a thing as, say, aspirin. So, you know, obviously the more demand you have and the more supply you need to put out, then the more, you know, you process at once, it ends up cheaper per unit, and, you know, so on and so forth. And that's just kind of a standard, understandable rule, you know, when it comes to producing anything. Like, you know, when CD burner drives first came out, they were like $1,000, something outrageous like that. And, like, you know, now it's like you could pick up a freaking, you know, DVD burner drive for like a cheap one for like $25. And so, you know, it's the same idea. It's a supply and demand thing. Rich, are you back yet? No, apparently not yet. Maybe he's taking a big, healthy paradigm shit. I don't know. Yeah, well, while we're waiting, we may as well kind of look ahead and get an idea of how many pages we have left to read. And by the way, this is a fairly, you know, physically small size book, and the text in it is pretty large. So, you know, obviously, however many pages are left here, it's not like tiny micro pages that are going to take forever to read. Okay. It looks like the end of our reading is going to be on page 16, because then beyond that it gets into the, you know, the $200 water filter thing. And we are currently on page 6. We're beginning page 6. So it's really, you know, not that much that we have to read. I mean, small book, big fonts. We're already on page 6. Stop at 16. And, you know, you've even got little picture illustrations and stuff in here. So, yeah, so we don't really have much long to go on reading this. It's just right now I'm just waiting for Rich to get back from the freaking bathroom. Man, he's just really taking a serious paradigm shit here. I'm halfway tempted to just continue, like, reading forward anyway. Okay, fuck it. I'm tired of trying to think of the aimless things to rant about while I'm waiting. Adia Clarity is a natural health product. 1, effective in prevention and opportunity to heal. Adia Clarity is filled with ionic sulfate minerals that protect you from the harmful contaminants in your water. Adia Clarity makes these contaminants inert. So, okay, that's really nothing more than, you know, what's already been said anyway. Remove toxins buildup from your body. Adia Clarity has been clinically proven to be safe for human consumption and has been found to be effective in heavy metal removal from the body by an average of 82% in 90 days. These toxic metals include aluminum, mercury, lead, and arsenic. Additionally, Hydration of the cells was improved by 32%. And the results for the human clinical trial are available at waterliberty.com/pdfs/heavy-metal-day-final-21.pdf. Applications. Use added clarity to purify water for all of your needs. Drinking for your family and pets. Bathing purifies and mineralizes your bath water. Making beverages, ice, coffee, tea, juice, etc. Washing produce, fruits, vegetables, etc. Obviously, these are applications that it can be used for. It's obviously a bit pricey to be using for all of this stuff. So until the price comes down, obviously most of us aren't going to be using this wide scale. Cooking, pasta, soup, etc. Watering plants, indoor and outdoor. A little disclaimer, flavor may slightly be altered after the addition of added clarity. Heat does not affect added clarity. In cooking, added clarity provides you with a purified water to cook your meals. Did you know boiling your water does more harm than good? Every time you cook or make a soup, you boil your water. While the water is being boiled, it evaporates and leaves a lesser amount of water in the pot. With a lesser amount of water, you will have an increased concentration of nitrates and heavy metals. Also, hot water dissolves contaminants more quickly than cold water. So always use cold tap water, never use hot water to speed up cooking. The problem is that water is in everyone's home. Even if people don't drink tap water, they cook with it. Lead slams straight into pasta. Boil up peas in contaminated water, and the lead is in the peas. And that particular part is a quote from Michael Moore, University of Queensland, Renner, 2010. In bathing, added clarity purifies and mineralizes your bathing water. As a high-quality product concentrated with minerals, all you need is 3 tablespoons to add to an average bathtub, which again, at $25 for 2 ounces can get more than just a little pricey. But, it'll be really cool when the price does come down as more people start using this and the supply and demand ratio changes. Helps prevent absorption of contaminants directly through your skin. Helps avoid skin irritation caused by chemicals such as chlorine. Volatile organic chemicals. Volatile organic chemicals escape from contaminated water, and somebody made a typo there, into the air and are inhaled during baths and showers. Added clarity is a cost and time-saving water purifier that can minimize your exposure to toxins. And see, we're already on page 8 going into page 9. So, moving through pretty quickly. Come on, pages. Stop sticking together. Thank you. Instructions. Conversions. How much added clarity should I add? The amount depends on the quality and type of water. Generally, the more contaminants are in the water, the more added clarity is needed to purify your water. Richard, are you back yet? I'll take that as a no. For most water, we are recommending starting with a dilution ratio of 1 to 1,000. To calculate the amount of added clarity you need, divide the volume of water by 1,000. Example, 1 liter of water is 1,000. 1 liter of water, 1,000 equals 1 milliliter of added clarity. 1/5 of a teaspoon equals 20 drops. 1 teaspoon is 100 drops. To purify a large amount of drinking water, recommended dosage per 1.3 gallon or 5 liters of water. And the graph goes like this. When it comes to tap water or well water, every 5 liters is going to be between 1 and 2 teaspoons. For filtered water or spring water, 1 teaspoon. For distilled water or reverse osmosis water, half a teaspoon. Here's what I basically broke this down to. In my little bottle, it's got, you know, when you unscrew the top, it's got an eyedropper built into it. And when I, you know, stick it in and, you know, suck some of the stuff into the eyedropper, it fills the eyedropper halfway. So now for you know, things like pop, tap water, things like that, what I've figured out, you know, making it as far as, you know, the little eyedropper thing is, when I fill the eyedropper up halfway, if you got something, you know, that's going to be super polluted like tap water or pop or things like that, I put in 4 of those. So I fill the eyedropper up halfway, add it to the 2-liter bottle, and I do that 4 times. Now, with the bottled water, that, you know, the purified water, you know, I did that 2 times. So, you know, that's what I figured out. You know, I went on, you know, on Google to do the, you know, the calculations and conversions of, you know, between liters and gallons and so on and so forth, and experimented with that. So I played around and basically, you know, got to that basic calculation there. To purify smaller amounts of drinking water, for most water, we recommend adding 5 to 8 drops for every 8 ounces of water. For distilled or reverse osmosis water, which is generally clean but is lacking in minerals, reduce the dosage by half, from 5 to 8 drops to 2 to 4 drops for every 8 ounces. This enhances the water with essential minerals. So volume of tap water and the recommended dosage, you know, it's got a chart here. 8 ounces, 237 milliliters. That's between 5 and 8 drops for tap water. And all this is for tap water that I'm reading, by the way. 16 ounces, 473 milliliters, excuse me. That's between 10 to 16 drops. And of course, 32 ounces of tap water, which is 946 milliliters or 1 quart, is between 20 and 32 drops. And, you know, like I said, got an eyedropper in there so you can literally measure it by drops. Richard, are you back yet?
Yes, I am.
I've had to continue forward because you were just taking too long. I got tired of thinking of random bullshit to say, and I'm just like, fuck this.
So what did I miss? I went to the bathroom, then my mother came home, then now here I am.
Really nothing more than you and I have already discussed anyway. I mean, you know, Clarity is a natural health product, you know, effective in prevention, opportunity to heal, you know, remove toxins from your body, etc. You know, all the stuff that you and I have already discussed in private anyway about this. You know, so it's nothing you don't already know. I went into, you know, the different measurements and how I figured out as far as, you know, the eyedropper and what I added, you know, into mine and why I did it that way and so on and so forth. And that's kind of where you walked in.
Okay.
So nothing you don't already know.
Okay.
Okay, treatment process. What should I do after adding Clarity to my drinking water? Stir to ensure contaminants are binding to the minerals in Clarity. Keep the lid off or cover loosely to allow gaseous contaminants such as chlorine and other chemicals, volatile byproducts to evaporate. Oh, that reminds me, I didn't actually do any stirring when I added it in 24 hours ago, so I should probably cap those bottles back up, shake the shit out of them, and then let the carbonation calm down before reopening them. Because I got another 24 hours to go on letting this, you know, do its thing. Wait while treating water at room temperature. Do not refrigerate water during treatment because cold temperature slows down the reaction. The whatever the fuck word they use. I don't know, whatever. Like I said, some of the words are even more complicated and articulate than I'm used to saying. So it's just like, eh. How long do I wait before drinking the water? The wait time depends on the quality of the original water. Longer wait time ensures all complex contaminants such as microorganisms are removed. If you are confident that the starting water is clean, i.e. distilled and reverse osmosis water, wait between 5 and 15 minutes before drinking. For polluted water, the suggested wait time is 24 to 72 hours. I'm going roughly on the 48. Time-saving tips. Treat 2 large batches of water at a time. When one batch of water is still being treated, you can drink the batch that is already purified. 2. Adding added clarity to warm or hot water would speed up the purification process. How can I determine the ideal treatment time? Treat 8 ounces of water with 5 to 8 drops of added clarity, stir, and let it sit for 24 to 72 hours. Monitor the amount of sediments every 24 hours. When you stop seeing more sediments forming, this indicates that the contaminants are neutralized, and that would be the ideal wait time. Well, I'm not going through all those processes. I'm just rounding things out and, kind of doing the middle average, so to speak, as I already explained. How long do I wait when treating water in a restaurant? The suggested wait time is between 5 and 15 minutes. Adding added clarity to warm water would also speed up the purification process. What should I expect to see after waiting? The effects may vary depending on the amounts, turning the page here, and type of contaminants in the water. After adding added clarity to your water, you may see, number 1, no sediments. If the starting water is clean, i.e. distilled reverse osmosis, there may not be enough contaminants in the water to form, I can't say that word, it begins with a P, it just means the reaction that creates the sedimentation. Not all chemicals form sediments. For example, chlorine, volatile organic compounds, and other gaseous contaminants evaporate off the top. Complex contaminants like microorganisms may take longer to treat, and you may not observe the effect immediately. The recommended wait time is between 24 and 72 hours. 2. Sediments at the bottom of the container. Generally, more polluted water may result in more sediment. 3. Color change or cloudiness. These are signs that dissolved contaminants are coming out of the solution. Give it more time for contaminants to come together and form sediments. 4. Pale yellow color throughout the water. Reduce the dosage if the color looks like ginger ale and the taste is very strong. This could be an indication that you may have added too much added clarity minerals. Is it safe to drink the sediment? Though the sediment may be unpleasant to look at, it is completely harmless and safe to drink. How can I remove the sediment? Sediments are safe to consume. They are the neutralized contaminants and have been converted to a harmless form by added clarity. Since they are unpleasant to look at and give a different taste to the water, we recommend filtering them out. You may also use the following simple home filtration alternatives: coffee filter, cheesecloth. Grab a clean container, place coffee filter over container, pour the treated water through the coffee filter. To avoid small sediments from passing through the filter, do not apply too much pressure when filtering with a coffee filter or cheesecloth. It is not necessary to pour out the last bit of water with sediments. It is completely normal that the disturbed sediments float to the top. Please note, some sediments, depending on the type and the amount of contaminants in the water, are so fine that they may pass through the pores of these filters. Suggestions: try using 2 to 3 coffee filters at one time. Use the additive filtration system. Its 0.2 micron pore size ceramic filter can trap the finest sediments. The most effective method to remove the sediments is to use the Adia Clarity gravity filtration system. That's like the most expensive one. It's like a $400 system. It contains a ceramic filter with 0.2 micron pore size to trap even the finest sediments, a 4-layer earth filter, it has extra protection and water taste enhancer. And then the last bit, page 16, storage. How should I store the treated water? Store water in another container made of either glass, stainless steel, ceramic, BPA-free plastic, and refrigeration is not necessary. And everything else in this manual, is just, it's the filter. Oh, there's testimonials and stuff in here. Let's see here. Yeah, I think in the video, the one guy actually goes over some of these testimonials. Yep, yeah, these are the ones that were gone over in the video, so people are going to see these anyway, so it's all good. I don't need to go over them here. You and I have already seen them, and people who haven't watched those videos yet are going to see them, because I'm going to be starting to include those videos in part 2 of this. Okay, cool. That's the whole freaking manual right here. So, any other thoughts that you have now that we've pretty much gone through all this, and the only thing left other than going through the rest of the videos and stuff is for Dave the guinea pig to do his thing.
Nothing really else to add. I mean, just simply, it's a good product, obviously, because Google is putting fear porn at the very top of their page, and
Yeah, it's good when Google's doing the fear porn thing.
Yeah, it's a surefire product. No, I don't really have anything else to add. I just can't wait to try it myself at some point and, talk about my results with it in another hangout in the future and kind of go over the kind of collectivized results between you and me.
Yeah. Oh wow. I'm looking at this at one bottle right now because remember how I said I'm gonna shake it up because I'd forgotten to do that. Well, I'm moving it around, and there is a clusterfuck of sedimentation all in this bitch.
Really?
Like there's heavy sedimentation in this thing. I mean, obviously now I'm shaking it, so now it's a mix of sedimentation and bubbles because BOP is carbonated. I have to let that calm down before I can take the pop cap, the cap off again because I don't want it just exploding all over the place because this is carbonated stuff that I'm dealing with. Alrighty, now here's the clear water. I'm going to slowly move that around and see if I see any sedimentation floating around in there. Tiny bit, not much. So.
Are you trying to show on screen share?
No, I'm not. I'm in another part of the room doing this because I don't have this positioned in a convenient place for that, and I've got to set up.
Okay. I'm just making sure because you've had it on the water liberty thing the whole time, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no screen share.
So
I'm in another part of the room. I'm talking with a raised voice, to make sure that you can hear me because I'm literally like away from the freaking computer right now.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and the bottle of cream soda doesn't have nearly as much sedimentation as the other bottle of pop did, the more citrus stuff. It's got some, but like not nearly as heavy. Maybe there's like more fructose corn fuck over in the other one than this one or something. I really don't know. But that's definitely interesting. So, I'm shaking those up, and I'm going to let them sit and, you know, and calm down before I uncap them again. But I had forgotten that the instructions said to stir it, and I'm like, oh shit, well, I'm halfway through. You know, I got to wait another 24 hours. So at this point, it's like, okay. I mean, it's not really convenient to try to put a spoon in a 2-liter freaking bottle, but I could shake the hell out of it, same effect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also curious to find out how the pop tastes after this, you know? Because obviously it says that it may affect the taste slightly because of the alterations it's doing. So who knows? It might taste better. I mean, I might report back like, oh man, dude, this stuff tastes like twice as good now. Fucking A. You know, I mean, I don't know how it's going to taste. We'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I want to experiment with this myself because it's like at this point I can say, okay, I watched the videos. It's really cool how it can do environmental cleanup stuff and so on and so forth. But personal experience, I have none yet. So it's like, I'm like, all right, well, $25 for the little bottle and it seems really cool and everything. You know, what have I got to lose? I mean, you know, I'm just going to do a series of videos on this and report back my findings and stuff. And you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, even if hypothetically, let's say this is a total sham and it didn't do anything, and I go through all this and I report back, well, nothing. This is just bullshit or whatever. Even if that were to happen, at least I've got the data out online. So, you know, I've put the data out and, you know, monetizing it, obviously, because I can monetize Hangout because it's mine. Haha. So, yeah, I mean, so there's really no harm in everything to gain either way. You know, no matter whether this stuff ends up being really fucking awesome or, you know, whether it doesn't work at all or whatever, you know, at least I can put this information out. All of you out there can benefit from the information. You know, I'm going to monetize it. And of course, all Paradigm Shift and educational comedy episodes are completely free to download and re-upload, and feel free to monetize that if you want to. That's cool. I don't care. Make some money on it. It's Creative Commons Creative Commons license, so more power to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I just see no harm in any direction in testing this and seeing what happens, and I'm incredibly freaking curious.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
But just the way I figure it, if it works like it seems to, I just, you know, in my experiences, whenever I take anything that really works for kicking out toxins, it feels like I'm being raped by the Incredible fucking Hulk. Just like, ooh, party time, and not a good party for me. Real good party for the Hulk, though, but not so much for me. So yeah, I'm just kind of expecting to have like a week of fucking biological ass whoop if this stuff is as good as it says. But then again, it may feel great. It may kick it out in such a way that it's like, wow, I'm feeling revitalized and wonderful and great. But yeah, in all my experiences of detox, it feels like you're getting fucking plowed over and being made the universe's bitch. So
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either way, you know, by the results. Either way, it says that it works. It shows, you know, that it works.
Yeah, that's kind of the part that I guess they don't put in the you know, feedback testimonials. It's not like excuse me. Yeah. It's not like, wow, this stuff worked really great for me, but you know, beforehand it bent me over and made me its bitch and whooped my ass for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously not going to put that in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, just in my experiences, any good detoxing stuff that really does genuinely work, it usually kicks your ass. Just totally, just like, you know, it feels like you lost with the Incredible Hulk or Mike Tyson or whatever, backed over by a truck several times for good measure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just been my experiences. But hey, I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't such a thing as a detox that makes you feel wonderful while you're going through it. I'm just saying I haven't found it yet.
Well, yeah, generally when you're detoxing shit out of the body, it's like, you feel like you're gonna die.
Puking is a form of
Yeah.
detox. How good does that fucking feel? Does it feel wonderful when you have the flu and you're puking your freaking guts out? No, it doesn't.
No, I've gotten sick to where I've literally let everything out of me. It doesn't feel good at all. You feel miserable. And it lasts for about 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
The puking generally lasts about 2 days. That's generally how long the puking goes for. And then the third day, you're just sitting there afterwards going,
thank God it's over.
Yeah. I haven't gotten that sick in a long time. So I think I've gotten most of those toxins out of myself. Probably most toxins that would be coming out through the conventional. Well, yeah, it would definitely be conventional means anyway. Stuff would be flushing all the heavy crap out of your, gut and stuff that your body's been having trouble getting rid of.
Yeah, I mean, whether this kicks my ass or not, I'm looking forward to, seeing the results, and even if it does totally whip my ass, the positive results that come after the ass kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the past, whenever I've done any sort of detoxing stuff, there's always the beneficial results after the ass whipping. Otherwise, why bother doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you change your diet in such a way to where you're not eating so much nasty stuff and you're eating more healthy stuff, that in and of itself is a detox. Because unfortunately, toxins create cellular addiction to those toxins. So then you go through the withdrawal symptoms. And it just feels like, you're being taken for a not so pleasant ride. Just, ugh. Mm-hmm. But then after it's over, it's just like this relief. Like you feel like way more vitalized and stuff. Like for a while, I was like purely on Dr. Pepper and RC. And now I've decided to add a lot of non-colas into the mix, like, citrus type of pop with those sorts of juices, bottled water, brisk iced tea, things like that. And, soon I'll be adding in, the lucid dreaming tea with 100% pure kangaroo cock. But it's lucid dreaming tea. Go to luciddreamingtea.com. I'm going to be having some of that stuff. I've already taken some of it and put it in my spice mixes that I put on my food. Most people don't know that tea leaves are also consumable. So you can use them as herbs to flavor food and shit too. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm going to be having this in, the liquid tea form as well. Just haven't gotten around to that yet, but I will be. I got my little baggie of tea here. So it's going to be interesting. I've been doing whatever I can to improve my health. I mean, I take 10,000 IU a day of Nutrigold vitamin D3. I take dead sea salt, which it's the reverse of regular salt. Regular salt is high iodine, low magnesium. Dead sea salt is obviously low iodine, high magnesium. And that's the balance your bones need because magnesium balances out calcium. So I do that. I mean, I take dandelion root tablets. I mean, sure. Could I, take, dandelion weeds from my garden and dry out the roots and grind it up and do all that myself? Yeah, but I mean, I'm a lazy bitch, so I just got the tablets. Okay, I'll admit it there. All right. And I also take apple cider vinegar tablets too, and I take colloidal gold and colloidal silver and so on. And have I seen improvements in my health from all this stuff? Oh, fuck yes. And I have my own little herbal mixture of stuff that I put together. Part of it I grow here, at the house, and other parts of it I purchase organic stuff online, but it's got a mixture of chili peppers and oregano, and of course the Dead Sea salt in there, as well as iodine salt too, because the Dead Sea salt has a different taste to it than iodine salt, and obviously it's not as good of a taste as the iodine salt. So I mix regular salt in there too to bring the taste back to where it should be. Cayenne pepper, spirulina, this all this different stuff that I have in in my little spice mix that I put on food, and it's really awesome and it works for me. The flavoring I put together for myself is not everybody's cup of tea, no pun intended. So people who want to experiment with this sort of stuff have to just kind of see what works for you, as far as what makes you feel good and what tastes good and so on and so forth. People who might not be able to handle spicy foods that well are probably not going to have the cayenne and the chili peppers and stuff like that, but they could have the the spirulina and the oregano and the Dead Sea salt and iodine salt in there, and maybe a little bit of lucid dreaming tea mixed in there perhaps. And no, I don't get any commissions or anything for mentioning lucid dreaming tea. I'm mentioning it because I have it, and so there. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've started altering my diet in more and more positive ways since 2012, and haven't really come down with like any major sicknesses since. I mean, I used to get my ass totally whooped at least a few times a year with like some kind of a bad cold or bronchitis or flu or some damn thing, and haven't had that shit happen since 2012. Also used to get chronic migraines like most of my freaking life, and now these days I hardly get them at all, and when I do, they're not nearly as bad as they used to be. So yeah. And then, of course, I've lowered my stress levels as well. One key thing within the paradigm shifting I do is kind of, grow a thicker skin, metaphorically speaking, and don't take shit so personally. Because when you take everything so personally, you're just like stressing yourself the fuck out about everything. And the damage that does to your body is fucking incredible. So, learn some patience and chill out and relax a bit on stuff, not simply just for philosophical reasons or ideological reasons, but like seriously, your body's health is going to improve big time, because otherwise you're just sabotaging your immune system, because you're releasing all that stress hormone, which is so corrosive, in fact, that they use it in organ rejection medication, because stress hormone shuts down your immune system. And the immune system needs to be shut down in order to give the body time to acclimate and accept the new organ. Otherwise, it'll see the new organ as like a foreign body and not accept it, and will just try to destroy the new organ, which of course isn't a real good thing. If you've just had an organ transplant, you're going to kind of want the body to accept the organ, not reject it. Yeah. So because stress hormone is so freaking corrosive, it shuts down the immune system. That's why they put it in, a synthetic equivalent of that in the anti-rejection medication. So, you've got society and the news and everything focusing everybody on 24/7 fear and training us to be neurotic and be politically correct little butthurt bitches and take everything so personally. All that stress hormone running through you, what do you think that's doing to your immune system? Are you sick all the time? Are you wondering why? Do you stress out over fucking nothing like a little bitch? The stress hormones that you're pumping into your bloodstream might have something to do with it. Try new prescription strength. Damn it all. Just kidding on that last part. Also compared to the active ingredient in fuck it all. But seriously, folks, I think you all get my point at this point. So, Richard, are you back? I'll take that as a no. I don't know if there's anything else he wants to add. I pretty much said all I have to say about this for the moment, and I'm thinking, okay, probably might be a good time to close out the hangout. But, you know, I don't want to be a rude bitch, and, you know, then Rich comes back and just like, hey, what the fuck? I was going to mention da-da-da-da-da, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, oh, sorry, didn't know. So, yeah, I'll try to wait up a few minutes here, but if he takes exuberantly long like last time, then fuck it, I'll risk being a rude bitch and just close out the hangout. But I will give him a chance to return, because what I am saying is I'll give Rich a chance to return to the hangout. I must give Rich a chance. Richard. Are you back yet, Mr. Richard? I hear movement. Is he alive? Richard, are you alive over there? Or did Kissinger break into your house and anally violate you and skull fuck you until death? No. He's not that. Or wait, I'm hearing something again. Richard, is that you? Excellent. Mork and Mindy joke. Rich. Okay, well, I guess there is one one last thing I could do, because I forgot if I actually had done this earlier. I want to show the bottle of add ya clarity there. Of course, there's the eyedropper mechanism I was talking about, and when I fill it up, hopefully the screen will let you see that it comes about halfway. Yeah, so hopefully we can see that. And then I was mentioning, you know, before the font sizes and everything and illustrations and how the, you know, the text wasn't all that big or anything. You know, just so you guys can kind of get the idea on that. Yeah. My nails are still a little freaking dirty. I was working in the garden earlier. I washed my hands like 5 different times and scrubbed around my nails. There's still a little bit of junk in there. Damn it. I love working in the garden, though. It's awesome. I have a pond, garden, everything like that. Richard, are you fucking back yet?
Boy, I suck at this.
There you are. Yeah, we thought you were sucking on Kissinger's cock as he was like violating you and skull fucking you and murdering you over there. We heard movement, but we figured maybe Kissinger had you like bound and gagged or something as he was sticking his cock in your asshole. You know, weren't sure what was going on with you there, Rich.
That bad, huh?
Well, we didn't know. We heard a lot of like rustling and movement. We thought maybe Kissinger was doing some like S&M bondage thing with you over there. I mean,
your sick ass would like that, wouldn't you? The Fuhrer's putting on a good cooking show.
Dick is a killer.
No, it's like, no, the Fuhrer is putting on a cooking show.
So is there anything you want to say or go into or whatever before we close out this hangout? Because I think that we've pretty much said all we can say for now.
For now, yeah. No, I think we've kind of beaten it to death with a. I think we've beaten the horse to death with a stick.
Especially during the times when you take your extended leave, and I'm just here like, okay, I gotta buy time. Fuck, what do I talk about? Look, a squirrel.
Yep.
Yes, this is tobacco. No, I'm not advocating nicotine. Kids don't smoke and all that good stuff. Unless you're in Oregon or Colorado and it's weed and it's legal and you're 21 years or older, then knock yourself the fuck out. Have a beer while you're at it. But nicotine, stay away from it. Alrighty. I guess that's it for this episode. And after this, like I said, I'm going to take this one and splice it up and mix it with this other videos as before. And then after a week or so of this stuff either kicking my ass or not, then, you know, I will be reporting back again. So you guys have that to look forward to. So catch you later. Peace out.